Hey everyone, thanks a lot for taking the time to join us today. I'm your host Abhishek, serving the marketing team of JustCall and joining in from the India office. This webinar is about how you can use omnichannel strategies to improve your overall customer experience. Today, today our guests are Taran from the customer experience team of JustCall and Shambhav from the marketing team of Helpwise. Taran, why don't you introduce yourself to our audience?
Hi Abhishek, sure. So hi everyone, I'm Taran and I handle the customer experience team of JustCall. And I can see that some of the JustCall users have joined this call as well. Hi Tushar, James, and Bibo. And I'm sure the JustCall users have must have spoke to me via chat or via call because I usually active on in the intercom chat. Yeah. So thank you, Abhishek.
Okay, thanks, Taran. And Shambhav, we are glad to have you here with us. How about you introduce yourself to our audience?
Yeah, thank you for having me, Abhishek. And I'm pretty excited to be here because we've been fans of Just Call since I can't even remember since when. And so just to introduce myself, I'm Shambhav, and I'm the product marketer at Helpwise. And I'm sure our users that are joining from Helpwise, they must have seen me pop up on the website pretty often. So I hope you guys enjoy our webinar because we have some pretty good stuff in for you. So well, thanks for having me, Abhishek.
Oh, it's really a pleasure to have you here with us, Shambhav. Okay, so here's our agenda for today. We will begin with an introduction of customer experience. What is an omnichannel customer experience strategy? And then we will jump on to why omnichannel customer experience is not a choice but a requirement. We have kind of like a really good study around that. Then we will be discussing tech stack of the companies with the best customer experience. And then Taran would be showcasing us how JustCall uses Helpwise for delivering the best omnichannel experience. Taran and Shambhav have created some omnichannel frameworks, which they have learned that their e-commerce, insurance, and real estate customers are using. After this, we would be in the end having a Q&A round. If you have any questions, feel free to drop your questions in the Q&A box. We will try to answer those questions during the webinar or in the Q&A round. All right. So Taran, if you don't mind to kick things off and tell us more about Just Call.
Yep, sure, Abhishek. So, to put it simply, JustCall is a cloud-based phone system for your sales and support team, which is used by the industry such as real estate, IT, healthcare, and many more. And we offer numbers for more than 50 countries, and one can easily set up a call center in a couple of minutes. The core features are calling and testing, and apart from these core features, the features such as appointment scheduler, IVR, automations. So these are all the features that, all these features help us to improve the customer experience as well.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Taran. And Shambhav, I would love to hear more about Helpwise. We are a big customer at Just Call, and we have been super impressed with a lot of the stuff that you and your team have been building around Helpwise. How about you give us a quick background on Helpwise?
Of course, and thank you for the kind words, Abhishek. So Helpwise is basically a shared inbox solution that allows teams to manage not only their internal communication but their external communication as well from channels like email, Facebook, Twitter, live chat, WhatsApp, and SMS. And Helpwise not only allows you to manage these channels from one platform, but you can collaborate on these conversations as well with your team members. So you can leave notes, chat with your team members on each particular conversation. And the best part is that you don't need to share passwords for team email accounts. You can just create a separate login for each of the users and just go on collaborating. So that's Helpwise in a nutshell.
Okay, awesome. Also, I'd like to give a quick shout out to the Helpwise team that our sales support and the customer success team use Helpwise on a daily basis, and they simply love it. Okay, so here we go. So here we have listed top 6 customer experience challenges which we have seen that our customers are facing. The first one is the first and the average response time. The second is the multiple communication platforms, because the service and the support team have to look over all the platforms like call, SMS, email, social media inboxes, and other. The third challenge is personalized customer experience. Fourth is the team collaboration, because you must be having some sales team, support team, and other teams in place, and having a better collaboration in place is kind of like a must to have in today's business environment. Tracking customer data and conversations and time consuming manual tasks are also two big customer experience challenges that businesses are facing as of now. So now we will move to the customer experience. So Taran, would you mind telling us of what exactly is customer experience according to you and why it's so important?
Yeah, of course, Abhishek. So, most people think that the relationship of a company with its customer, it's just about improving the product ratings or decreasing wait times. Whereas it's about improving the customer experience as a whole. What is customer experience, do you ask? So, customer experience basically focuses on the relationship between a business and its customers. It includes every interaction, no matter how brief, and even it doesn't result in a purchase. It's all about putting customers' needs at the center of what a company needs to do, and then ensuring all along the touch points and along with all the relevant company customers journey that a customer have a flawless experience. The major components of a customer experience are traditional brick and mortar store visits, the mobile apps, social media, web and SMS chats, and support forums. So having said that, a company needs to properly understand the customer's journey to learn how they are purchasing or what drives them not to purchase a service or a product.
Okay, great. And mostly in the business world, I have seen that folks saying that customer experience only comes into play when the customer starts using the service or the product. Taran, can you share your thoughts on the same?
And I completely disagree because the customer experience begins from the first touch point. To put it in a simple words, customer experience starts from the prospects or leads and goes to the customer to the promoter stage. This is because with a good customer experience, you can get more leads, convert more customers and create more promoters. So customers experience is not just a strategy to make customers happy, it also strengthens your revenue, brand image, and keep your customers satisfied with your product and service.
Okay, this is definitely kind of like an eye opener for me. So, also, then, what teams specifically do you think are responsible for customer experience, and what metrics are required?
In my point of view, I would say, Abhishek, that the product marketing, sales, and definitely the customer support teams are responsible for the customer experience. The metrics can be different for different teams, but overall success of a customer experience strategy depends upon the level of synchronization all these teams have.
Okay, great. I think this should clear up any doubt someone might have about what customer experience is and why it's necessary to implement a proper strategy around customer experience. Now, of course, there are multiple ways one can go about implementing different customer experience strategies, but the one we are going to discuss today falls under the category of omni-channel based customer experience. Shambhav, since Helpwise enables omni-channel services for businesses, why don't you introduce omni-channel customer experience to our audience?
Yeah, of course. So, most people think that improving customer experience is an easy task. All you need to do is just talk nicely and make the customer or the client feel good. But that's a pretty generalized view of looking at things, and it's easier said than done. The complexity comes when you go deeper and understand that, companies are often organized in silos for multiple customer journeys. And it becomes even more difficult with the increasing number of channels from where a customer can be acquired. So you need a tech stack that allows you to manage all your communication channels. So this is where the omni channel strategy comes into place. And omni channel just basically means having all of your channels work in parallel around the customer to create a completely seamless customer experience. And omnichannel just basically puts the customer at the center of the strategy. And this customer centricity makes a marketer or a sales guy's job easier. It simplifies the work for your customer service team too. And basically the omnichannel strategy just allows you to touch all the touch points and make sure that all of your channels are moving in the same direction, so that the customer has the unified experience. So that's omnichannel in a nutshell.
Oh, great. That's kind of like sounds interesting. All right. Since we are done with the intro, I believe now we can see why omnichannel customer experience strategy is not a choice but a requirement. So, uh, we have kind of like a study which was done by Temkin Group and which stated that 49% out of 2000 business professionals said that customer experience is their biggest priority for the upcoming years. And it was followed by the product and the pricing challenges. But as you can see, customer experience is definitely one of the biggest priority for the businesses for the upcoming years. And I would definitely advise you guys to look after it. So, why a better customer experience strategy is a must. So this is kind of like a study which was done by uh, Temkin Group, and which stated that companies that are earning $1 billion annually can expect to earn on average an additional 700 million once they invest in customer experience, and they would be getting this return within 3 years of their investment. So if we consider a SMB or a small business, and if they are earning $1 million annually, you can expect $700,000 within or less than 3 years of your investment in customer experience. Also, there was a study by SGL Group which stated that 90% of customers expect a consistent brand experience across all devices and channels which they are using to interact with brands. So this is kind of like really important because now in the digital world there is social media, there is SMS, there is email, there's WhatsApp. You can't really run away from the channels, and you can't tell your customers on which channel specifically to go for. Then the third point, the companies who successfully implement a customer experience strategy achieves higher customer satisfaction rate. The all these points would be better explained by Shambhav in the next slide, where he will be discussing what are the importance of omnichannel strategies.
Yeah, well, there are multiple benefits that one can receive if they implement the omnichannel strategies correctly. So, like they would have better oversight. Of course, it would allow you and your team members to view all of your customer data and from all the channels in one intuitive single interfaced dashboard, and you can also get faster response times. So of course, if you use better automation, like automation rules to automatically assign conversations, automatically tag conversations, or automate replies and forwards and all of that stuff. So it just improves your work rate and makes your uh, efficiency better. And of course, then the next point being a seamless customer experience. So every channel should work cohesively to steer the customer journey in the same direction. So with the use of integrations and centralization of data, you can tailor the voice and messaging to suit the customer's individual needs. Then the other point being internal collaboration. Of course, if you're using an omni-channel strategy, you would need to collaborate with your team members internally. Otherwise, people usually collaborate outside the platform. Maybe they send over screenshots and messages asking for feedback or something or the other on other platforms. And omni-channel strategy would allow you to internally collaborate with your team members. Then finally, the you would be able to cater to a wider range of audience. Of course, by limiting yourself to certain platforms and channels, you're literally losing out on a chance to engage with your existing or potential customers. So because stats show that 72% of millennials are likely to choose a brand that responds to customer queries and feedback on social network channels. So I think these points alone should summarize how crucial omni-channel strategies can be in this day and age, where the consumers online demand has increased so much that not only because of the pandemic, but because of the majority part of the world population is moving online at a staggering rate, and because of the increasing number of channels where your customers reside.
Yep, solid point. I also have similar thoughts that having an omni-channel customer strategy is the need of the hour. If you're not taking customer experience seriously, your competitors definitely will. And since we have seen that customers are ready to pay for a good experience, you simply can't take customer experience lightly. And this is why Tarun and Shamo have created a cheat sheet on omnichannel customer experience stack. If you don't want to miss the real juice, please stay attentive in the upcoming slides. So, Shambhav, can you explain this cheat sheet to our audience?
Of course. So, when you're implementing an omni-channel strategy, you need to ensure that you have certain key points that you need to follow. So, you need to have certain features that every omni-channel tech stack should have. So, the first being, of course, managing multiple channels from one platform. So, it would mean that you need to be able to see all of the channels that you have in one single view. So, as you can see on the screen in the screenshot on your screens, so here you can see that we have the email inbox, we have the SMS inbox, we have WhatsApp, we have Twitter, live chat, sales inbox, we have Facebook, and the personal inbox as well. So basically, Helpwise allows you to see all of the inboxes that you have on your account, all of the channels in just one view, so that you can just click on any of these inboxes and view the conversations for those. Otherwise, you would have to open different platforms and see all of the conversations over there, and it just takes a lot of time to switch between different platforms. Then the next being automation rules. So automation rules basically allow you to automate at least 50% of your tasks that you would otherwise have to do manually. So like automatically assigning conversations to different team members, automatically tagging the conversations based on certain parameters, like maybe if you have a high priority conversation or a pricing related query or a shipping related query or you know some bug related query. So all of these uh, conversations can be tagged under certain heads using automation rules just based on the parameters that you've set up. So an omnichannel strategy needs to have, omnichannel tech stack needs to have this particular feature in. Then the next feature being internal collaboration. Of course, if you're using an omnichannel, tech stack, your conversation volume would automatically increase. So you need to be able to uh, get in touch with your team so that you can collaborate with on conversations better, so that you can respond faster instead of rather waiting for your team member to help you out with that query. So you can just use like a notes feature, as you can see in the screenshot, and mention your team member, asking for their feedback. Okay. Then the next feature being save replies. So save replies are like canned responses. Okay. So I'm sure most of you would have used the this feature, but it's pretty much overlooked because the use case for this is pretty endless, because you can create save replies for repetitive queries. Like, let's say if you have a pricing query that your customers keep emailing you about, or maybe they send you queries on chat widgets or Facebook or Twitter. So you can just create these saved replies for each of those inboxes or channels, and you can just send those across, and it greatly improves your efficiency and improves your work rate. Then the next feature being analytics and reporting. Of course, if you're using an omni-channel strategy, you need to have an overview of how your channels are performing, and you need to see how well your conversations are being handled, how many queries you're receiving in a certain time period, and what's the average response time. And you can also even take a deep dive into how your team members are performing, how many conversations they're closing, and how many conversations, how much time they're taking to respond to queries and all of that stuff. So these are some of the features that are pretty important for an omnichannel tech stack to have. And I think Taran, you can explain some of the other features that we have
Yep,
listed.
sure. So, the features that we have is, the IVR, call monitoring, call and voicemail, and some of the other features as well. So, let's just start with IVR. So, IVR stands for Interactive Voice Response. This is the system where you can create menu for your customers. For example, if you have different team members in your team, you can create different options. For example, one for sales, two for support, and three for accounts. So, this way, your customers can directly be forwarded to those departments, and they don't have to wait for a agent to pick up the call, and then they will forward the call to the specific team. So the IVR saves a lot of time, and this way the customer experience is improved a lot. Next is call monitoring. So this feature is majorly used by admins or those agents who review calls for their team members. So what this feature does is, on a live call, you can review it. You can listen to the live call, and you can also whisper to the agent. For example, if you feel like a situation where you have to tell something to your agent, so you can click on whisper to an agent, and your customer will not be able to hear you. Or in cases where you have to just barge in the call, so that you can talk to the customer, you can click on join call, and both you and your agent can speak to the customer at the same time. The next is appointment scheduler. So I'm sorry, the next is call and voicemail analytics. So what this feature does is, from the dashboard of JustCall, you can easily check the number of voicemails that you have received. Number accordingly, you can even check the response time, and you can see how many voicemails are left that you have to respond to. For the call analytics, it shows you the number of missed calls, the calls while you were out of office, the calls that were not received. So all this data are majorly used by the agents to improve the customer experience and to track the calls so that each and every call gets handled. The next is appointment scheduler. I mean, using the appointment scheduler, what you can do is you can create your own calendars. I mean, you can create your own calendar, set a time slot, share the link with your users. I mean, your customers can schedule call with you. And the good part is that these appointments are also synced with Google Calendar. So you can easily start your call directly from your phone by using the Google Calendar. The next thing is post call survey, and this is the most important feature for customer experience because after every call, you have to either ask for a feedback or you can use a feature like post call survey where this will be automatic. I mean, the customers can leave a feedback from the keypad by entering 1 to 5 digits, and there is a separate analytics for that. So you can see how many surveys are offered and what is the feedback for each agent in your team. The next is contact batch and the integrations that we offer. So the contact batch, I mean, before even receiving the call or while calling someone, you can click on the contact batch on the dialer and you can check their CRM profile. So let's say you are receiving a call from Michael, and before answering the call, you have to remember the conversations that you had with him, or you have to see the text conversations. So you can just simply click on the batch and it will redirect you to the contacts profile on the CRM, whether it's HubSpot, Fresh Sales, Pipedrive. So when we integrate with a lot of CRM, so on for all the CRMs, you get to see this contact patch on the dialer. So I mean, all these features are, I mean, eventually improve the customer experience and the resolution time.
Wow, that was pretty informative, and I believe this cheat sheet can be really helpful. On our audience, if you feel like you have any questions around the cheat sheet, do let us know in the Q&A box. We would love to answer those questions. Also, on the Helpwise part, I was kind of like surprised because at Just Call we have seen that the first and the average response time numbers going down, and our customers are getting the solution in an ASAP manner because of Helpwise. I think Taran would agree with me on this since most of his day-to-day work involves spending time on Helpwise to answer question queries and manage the customer experience teams. Taran, can you tell us how you use Helpwise to achieve 100% omnichannel control over customer queries?
Sure, Abhishek. And first, I would totally agree with you that yes, I mean, I usually spend half of my day on Helpwise when either I'm replying to customers or tracking some reports or reviewing the conversations. And I have to say that the concept of
Oh,
omnichannels has amazed me because I would start with email. For example, I don't have to share the credentials of Gmail, Twitter, and Facebook with my 30 team members. And there is a, I mean, now it's all at one place and they can just log in into their Helpwise account and track all the conversations from here. And even, I mean, now I don't need a separate team who needs to check the Facebook and the Twitter post after every hour. I mean, the same team that handles the email can also manage the Facebook and the Twitter accounts from directly from Helpwise. And then the features that Helpwise offers. I mean, as a customer experience lead, my major concern is that every team member gets an equal number of conversation, and that is achievable through the auto assignment. I mean, the team members, they just have to turn themselves available when they start their day, and they automatically get the conversations. And the good thing is that it is in round robin logic, which means that it distributes the workload among us the team members equally. So every team member gets equal number of conversations at the end of the day. The next thing is auto replies, auto tagging. I mean, these are all the rules that we can apply on our mailboxes, and the rules can be applied on more than one mailboxes. I mean, as you can see, we have support mailbox, sales, success, and then we have Facebook and Twitter. Now, I mean, for the rules, we are using auto replies for the weekend. For example, we don't work on weekends. So what we do is we have set up auto reply rule. So what it does is whenever we receive an email on the weekend, an auto reply is sent. I mean, that informs the customer that we aren't working at the moment. And if that's urgent, they can directly email at tarandeep@justcall.io. So, I mean, it really helps them in improving customer experience because this way the customer knows that yes, they can expect a response by Monday. And if that's urgent, they can directly email me because I usually mention my email in the auto replies. The next thing is auto tagging. I mean, it's the same rule, but it has a different functionality from it because, I mean, what it does is it helps me in looking for a specific conversation. For example, the conversations that includes the keyword issue or ASAP are automatically tagged. I mean, the name of the tag is high priority. And this is the first thing that I look for when I start my day because these are the conversations that needs priority from us. The next thing is auto assign rule. I mean, again, it is a rule, but a different functionality because now what it does is based upon the keywords, it assigns the conversation. Now, how JustCall uses it is because, I mean, whenever a content includes the keyword dialer not working, so this way the conversation is automatically assigned to Pratik, which is from our voice team. So this way the conversations are automatically assigned to the engineers, and we have different rules for each query or each keyword. The next thing is, I mean, these were all the features that really helped my team. Now, moreover, as an admin, I have to ensure that the response time should be minimum, and to see that the number of conversations that were raised in a day or in a week, I mean, that helps me decide whether I need to increase my team or not. So, I mean, we have the resolution time, average response time, the total number of conversations. So all these data are majorly used by the admins to help in deciding whether they have to increase their team size or what changes they have to make in their team.
Uh, Taran, I saw over there the screenshot that you showed that you're only using the email inbox and the Facebook and Twitter inbox. You're not using the live chat widget on Helpwise. I think it's high time you guys switch over to Helpwise live chat.
Yes, Shambhav, I mean, we are actually planning to move to Helpwise live chat for that.
Yeah, we're waiting.
Okay, so this is definitely gold. I was seeing improvement in our ratings on the review side, but now I can understand the real reason behind all the good words.
Thank you, Abhishek.
Okay, so now we are going to discuss some omni-channel frameworks which are using by the leading companies in the industries such as real estate, e-commerce, and insurance. So Shamba, how about you start this and give us an idea over the framework of insurance and healthcare?
Of course. So, we've noticed this trend a lot in our customers over at Helpwise that they're using a certain set of features. So, the rules, engage, and the help center feature. So, how insurance companies use rules is that they've created rules in such a way so that let's say if they receive a query for like let's say health insurance, life insurance, and car insurance. Okay, for any of these keywords. So, let's say if any of these keywords are mentioned on either their emails or live chat or their Facebook or Twitter inbox or any of the other inboxes. So what happens is the rules would automatically assign these conversations to the respective team members who are responsible for handling those departments for those particular insurance policies, and these queries that contain these keywords, they automatically get tagged under those specific queries. So let's say if the customer receives sorry if the company receives a query regarding the health insurance policy. So the conversation will automatically get assigned to the health insurance officer, and it would automatically get tagged under the health insurance policy tag. Then the next feature that they're using is Engage. So Engage is a part of the live chat widget. So it basically just triggers a message that when let's say a customer lands on a specific page on their website. So let's say if the customer lands on the car insurance page on their website, so the engage would automatically pop up a certain message saying that, okay, hey, I can see that you're checking out our car insurance page. Do you have any questions regarding it? Would you like to connect with our insurance agent? So this basically allows your agents or users to initiate the conversation even before your customers have started a conversation with you. Then the next feature is help center. So help centers are like knowledge bases of sorts. So gone are the days when people used to send over paper based documents over to policy holders. Nowadays they can just use a help center and share all the documentation around it with their customers. So irrespective of whatever channel they're on, so if they're on email, live chat, Facebook, any other channel, using Helpwise, they can just create an article or the documentation for that specific insurance policy, and they can just send it across on the click of a button. So, Taran, would you mind going over the other features?
Yep, sure. So the next is autodialer. And the autodialer is used by a lot of teams on JustCall. And what they do is, I mean, they upload a list of people that they have to call in a day and inform them about their policies or give them any update. So what this does is, I mean, the dialer automatically calls one by one, and the user doesn't need to manually dial the number. So that saves a lot of time. The next is call and voicemail analytics. When this is used to check the data according of the calls and the missed calls. You can see the number of missed calls, and this improves the response time and ensures that every call gets handled. Because in an industry like healthcare and insurance, that really matters. I mean, the response time does matter. The next is SMS bot. The SMS bot is used to send auto replies. I mean, based upon the keywords like pricing or status, you can directly, I mean, a reply can be automatically sent in a conversation. I mean, your agent can close the conversation, and as soon as the conversation is closed, the bot is activated. So it checks for the keyword and then automatically replies. The next is e-commerce and Shambhav. Yep.
Okay. Well, as I mentioned earlier, with the insurance use case, the same goes for the e-commerce use case as well. Companies just create rules for let's say if a customer is sending a query regarding their shipping times, or regarding let's say the pricing of certain products. So if those keywords are mentioned in any query across any of the inboxes, they automatically get assigned under the specific tag, let's say pricing or shipping, and they get assigned to the respective department. And they can these team members, they can just go ahead and open that particular tag, and go ahead and respond to these queries. And they can also set up auto replies. So let's say if they've received a query regarding their shipping times, and they can just set up auto replies, which should make sure that your customer doesn't really feel as if they're being ignored. So these auto replies could say something like, okay, thank you for getting in touch with us, we'll get back to you in the next 12 to 24 hours. And this can be customized based on any of the parameters that you've set up. Then the next feature that they use is engage. Of course, the use case is pretty simple, I would say. If let's say a person is on the product page of jeans company, so the engage would automatically pop up saying that, hey there, I can see that you are viewing our jeans collection. Do you have any specific size that you're looking for? So it just allows you to get ahead of your customer, so that even before they begin a conversation with you, you're already there. So this is known to increase a lot of our customers conversion rates. Then the other feature is Zenbox. So this feature is pretty good for companies that have multiple channels. So let's say you have email, Facebook, Twitter, live chat, and maybe SMS too, or even WhatsApp. So now what would happen is that, I mean, I can say for sure that when I see my email inbox saying something like a number like 900 emails left unread, that freaks me out. So the good thing about Zenbox is it only shows you the relevant conversations for you. So by relevant, I mean the conversations that have been either assigned to you, the conversations that you replied to, the conversations that you initiated, okay, or the conversations that you were mentioned in the notes. And using this feature, you can just track all the conversations that are relevant to you. It won't show you the spammy conversations like newsletters and all of that stuff. So it allows you to achieve perfect Zen, I would say. I know it sounds pretty cheesy, but then the next feature is shared inbox and analytics. Shared inbox analytics and reports. So this feature basically shows you the overview for all of your channels. Of course, being an e-commerce company, you would need to view the analytics for different channels to see how well they're performing, and how many queries you're getting, and how well your customer support agents or team members are handling those queries across the inboxes. And accordingly, you can make certain improvements. You can also take a deep dive and see what all customer queries your team members responded to, and what all responses they sent. So you can view the full chat history, being an admin, of course. And finally, I think, Taran, would you mind finishing it off for
Yep,
the
sure.
e-commerce users?
So now we have the SMS bot, and same as healthcare and insurance. I mean, it has a different use case. For example, you can send automatic replies if the content includes the keywords like delivery, order, or track. I mean, an SMS can be sent, and that SMS can include the URL of your tracking page, so that the customers can directly enter their package number and they can easily track their order. And the IVR, I mean, just as Amazon, you can set up different options on your mainline number. For example, one for new order, two for existing, and three for returns. So, I mean, depending upon the real estate, I mean, depending upon the industry, you can set up IVR for the different departments. The next industry is real estate. And Shambhav, please start with rules.
Yeah. So it's the same with rules. So actually, with the rules use case, companies are using it in a pretty unique way, I would say. So what they usually do is that they've set up rules in such a way. So let's say you have client A, client B, client C, and you have let's say three or four agents. Now, what would happen is that the rules they've created in such a way that, let's say, if you receive a customer query from client A, then in that case, that particular conversation will automatically get assigned to the real estate agent who was supposed to land them or close them. And not a lot of companies use rules in such a way to manage their client queries, because with real estate, the customer number is pretty low, so that way they can better manage their conversations. Now what the rule actually does is it automatically assigns these conversations to the respective sales agents, and it also tags those conversations for that specific sales agent. And that way they can just view the tags, and they can see all the conversations that they've received from that particular customer, customer. And that's how they use rules. And of course analytics. So real estate agencies, they like to keep control over their business, and that's a pretty good thing, because analytics allows them to see how well their sales agents are performing, and if they're leaving any query unanswered, and how much time they're taking to respond to queries, if something needs to be optimized. So they can do all of that as an admin using the analytics view. And Tarang, I think you can just
Yeah,
finish it
thank you,
off.
Shambhav. So I think we're short on time, so I will just wrap up quickly. Because the bulk SMS and the auto dialer, I mean, these are the same features but different functionalities. For example, both the features are used when you have to reach out to a large group of people. So if you have to, I mean, you can, I mean, in case in industry like real estate, you have to, I mean, there are time when you have to share the same information with a large number of people, and the information is same. So what you do is you can either call them or text them. So if you have to text them, you can just directly upload a list of thousands of people, and the same text will be sent to all the numbers. The same goes for auto dialer. You can either upload a list, and the dialer will automatically initiate the calls, and that's why we also have the predictive dialer. So in that way the system calls more than one number at a time, so it increases the probability of answering the calls, and you can quickly make the calls.
Perfect.
Okay. Thanks a lot, Taran and Shamba, for these insights. And I can see some questions here. So, Taran, the first question is for you. Can you share like how one can build a system of Just Call and Helpwise, or like what kind of implementation needs to be required? If you can give a quick idea on that.
Yep, sure. I mean, if you have to set up the just call, the first thing that you have to do is, I mean, set up a number, and depending upon your use case, you have to set up the routing settings. So, for example, if you have a mainline number for sales, so you can set up only one number. Now, if you have different departments, as I mentioned, you can use IVR. So your customers can reach out to different departments, and in that case, you can have a common number. Now, once you have set up just call, you can integrate with Helpwise, so that all the activities, your calls and SMS are logged into Helpwise. So that way, I mean, you can also reply them via Helpwise. You get a click to text, you get a call and text icons on Helpwise too. So that way, I mean, you can either use HubSpot, the Just Call, or directly use Helpwise to communicate with your customers. And all the activities will be tracked in Just Call as well as in Helpwise. So I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, I think so. Uh, Also, there is one question from Erica. So this is a question for Shambhav. Okay, so how can I manage SMS on my Just Call number better? So I believe Erica is a customer of Just Call, and she has this question around the SMS inbox or around managing SMS of the Just Call number.
Well, actually, this was supposed to be a surprise for the Just Call users, but we've recently launched our integration with JustCall. It's the JustCall SMS inbox. It basically allows you to manage your SMS queries on your JustCall using your JustCall number. You can just create an inbox using your JustCall number. You can manage all those queries. You can assign those conversations to different team members. You can internally collaborate. You can set up tags. You can set up auto replies and all of that stuff. So this just allows you a better collaboration for your just call SMSs. So I think we'll be sending out a link to you, I believe, Abhishek, and I think you can share that with your just call users.
Yeah, definitely, Shambhav. And since you mentioned surprise, so this is just a kind of like a gift from our Helpwise friends. And they have shared that anyone who wants to subscribe to Helpwise will get a 30% off for the first 3 months if they subscribe uh, to Helpwise before 15th of the March.